Okay, hello listeners and welcome back. I am joined here again today with my brother here to talk about all of our thoughts and opinions on Fallout Season 2. Alright, we're going to start off with Hank. We just left Hank in New Vegas. He really shows his true colors more and more this season, as he is a very bad guy with very little remorse. After blowing up Shady Sands, turning Lucy's mother into a ghoul, and being outed to Lucy about his past, he still goes on to New Vegas to conduct experiments on humans with the hope of a promotion from Robco, the new tech company that is introduced this season that we'll get more into later. Now with one of the devices in his head that he was using to experiment on others, it is unclear of where he's going to be. Will he remain this new sort of being? Will someone find a way to reset him to his old self? Will someone manipulate his thoughts into making him worse? Or is he faking the whole thing and he's not actually changed?
See, a lot of that's really interesting because when you really look at Hank's character and the fact that he was married to Steph, and then in the newer part of the season, Steph got a hold of Hank's locker, which contained an Enclave Pit-Boy. So this entire time, he's been working for a promotion in Robco, but he's actually working for the Enclave.
But that's basically Hank's story throughout the season. Next we'll move on to Norm. From where we left him in season 1, a part of me did believe that he was going to put himself into cryo sleep just to survive. However, he ended up doing the opposite of that and woke everybody else up instead. So he woke up a bunch of young interns.
Buds.
Yeah, buds.
These are Buds. My buds.
And he was able to convince them in helping him find a way out of the bunker. I didn't think that they were actually going to end up in the surface. I thought perhaps, they were going to end up in another room within the bunker, and it was going to be like, I don't know, it could have been like a management room or something like that, like something new that was to bunkers, but they actually
like
ended up...
a science room in the back.
Yeah, something like that. They would kind of like open up a new can of worms, but they just ended up back at the surface actually. So Norm doesn't really get much answers to coming and finding out like what experiments is set to take place in Vault 32 and 33.
But of course we do. We know that the FEV virus, the forced evolutionary virus, is going to be the main experiment for their vault. In the games, we already know what it does. It turns them into super mutants, which is what those big green guy was that helped the Ghoul.
Interns that he ended up waking up from the cryo sleep figure out that he isn't who he says he is, and they were going to dispose of him, but they ended up coming across another enemy, these giant cockroaches, and every single one of those interns ends up getting killed by these giant roaches. One of the interns that Norm was like getting cozy with, I think her name was Claudia. I think it was a bit ridiculous that she ended up surviving the attack because she was literally in the room with everyone else and everyone else was mutated and somehow she's like still alive. But I guess it's nice to know that Norm not only has like a friend but a travel companion now that he's out in the Wastelands. So I guess the big questions we have for Norm is like what will happen next, and will he eventually run into Lucy or even his father?
Yeah, I'm also like really interested to see where Norm's story picks up in the next season. I'm also interested to see what happens with Claudia and how their relationship develops in the next season.
Now we're up to Steph. You don't really think much of Steph throughout season 1 until she is assigned overseer for Vault 32. That is when it is hinted that there may be more to Steph than you originally thought. Now with season 2, when we first see her as an overseer, she has a very short and direct attitude, like she likes having this kind of power. Steph only gets more questionable as the show goes on, with her interactions with Betty, how she clearly killed Woody, and was trapping Chet by making him care for the baby and marrying him without even telling him about it.
Yeah, that was insane. I can't believe that she dropped the wedding on him. Like, that's fucking crazy. But then she was counting on him being a complete pushover, and that you've seen that blatantly in the show.
But what did you think the wedding was for? Like, what purpose did that do for Steph marrying Chet?
I feel like it was a distraction from Woody disappearing.
That's it.
Partially.
Because that's also something else that I kind of wondered, like, why did she actually want to marry him? Like, what would that prove? Especially when you find out that she's actually still married to Hank.
I don't know.
But the final ball drops in season 2, episode 7, when we are given an insight to her backstory, as she is a Canadian citizen that escaped from a concentration prison that crossed the border with the will to survive and the hate for the Americans. But the most shocking of all is that you find out how she ended up in the vault is because she was actually married to Hank. So when Steph and Chet are set to be married, I did think that he was going to back down after not being able to produce evidence of the claims he made about Woody.
Yeah, because he is a pretty big pushover in that show.
But instead, he did the complete opposite and exposed her by proving that she came before the bombs and is a Canadian citizen. I'm very proud of Chet for exposing her, as he is usually a bit of a chicken.
It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out too, because she's locked just in the overseer room and they're all wanting answers.
Or what could happen to Vault 32 now that she has initiated Phase 2. But no matter how it turns out, I am still happy that Chet did what he did so that everyone now knows the truth.
I get the feeling that she's gonna accidentally get herself caught in the second phase of the experiment, which, as far as I can see the show leading, is just releasing the FEV virus.
That's what you think Phase 2 is?
That's what I think phase 2 is.
Oh, yeah.
I get the feeling she's gonna get caught in that experiment and become a mutant.
Yeah, could be. Now we're looking at Maximus. At first it seems he has lost his way a bit being back with the Brotherhood. It doesn't last long as his friend Dane helps him stay on track. He also helps save some kids and Thaddeus from the Commonwealth. The biggest mistakes that Max makes this season is not killing Elder Cleric when he said he would. Now, due to this, he is being hunted by the Brotherhood and is considered an enemy. The one advantage he did have was taking the cold fusion with him, which Dane helped steal, then stayed behind with the Brotherhood, giving Max a man on the inside.
For next season.
It was a funny occurrence when Max and Thaddeus find and team up with the Ghoul, which works out for the best as he gets to wear and honor the NCR armor in exchange for giving the cold fusion to the Ghoul instead of Lucy like he planned.
Yeah, him wearing that NCR armor is huge for any of the games that we're watching, because the NCR history goes all the way back to the second game. Matter of fact, that entire faction, if you look at the lore, was around for a good 50, 60 years before its destruction.
Upon wearing the NCR armor, Max takes on a good few death claws before the rest of the NCR army join the fight.
And when they do, that's actually a huge reference to the opening cutscene of Fallout New Vegas.
This is how he finds and reunites with Lucy.
I actually really love Max's story this season, and it was really iconic how he wore the NCR armor considering he came from Shady Sands. But I don't really know where he's going to end up next season. I mean, the last thing we seen was him with Lucy. That could really go anywhere.
Now we're on to Lucy. She starts out the same as Season 1, still innocent and naive when it comes to the workings of the Wasteland. She makes some questionable and dumb choices.
Nelly, every decision she makes is a questionable and dumb choice.
Yeah, like leaving the Ghoul to almost choke to death.
Especially that.
Or going after a screaming woman in an abandoned hospital. Getting attacked and choosing to save a random woman, then save the Ghoul she's been traveling with. Or walk right into a murderous looking village and think that she can just walk out by using the power of kindness. She gets captured and tied up by Lacerate.
Kevin! Sorry, I had to do it.
Kevin! Where she is left to die until the Ghoul saves her, even though she has left him for dead twice at this point.
And because of that is why I hardly blame him for still using her as collateral when it comes to saving his family.
It is quite fun and funny watching her hyped up on drugs after her recovery. When she finally makes it to her father, she sees all of the experiments he has been conducting.
Basically, the experiment was actually a project handed down to him by Robco, which is a device that can be planted on the back of your neck to basically erase the memories of the individual and replace them with programmable thoughts, basically turn humans into drones.
She then tries to find a way to stop the experiments and bring her father to justice. She sort of achieves this as she is able to stop her father, but he has already set in place the second part of his experiment, which we are yet to know. Hank's out of the picture. Lucy reunites with Max, and they acknowledge they both played a part in starting a civil war. Max with the Brotherhood and the Commonwealth, and Lucy with the NCR and the Legions.
I did kind of enjoy Lucy's story this season, but it's definitely not one of my favorite tracks. Although I have liked the character development they've done with her, making her more, adapted to the Wasteland and doing what it takes to survive. And as the seasons keep going on, I am starting to enjoy her as a character a little bit more. But it will be interesting to see what kind of moral decisions she makes in the next season. She kind of has control of everything that her father was working on in that vault that they ended up in.
Now we're up to the Ghoul. After being left to hang and then left for dead by Lucy, he still comes back to save her from the Legion. From there, they make their way to New Vegas, which is where he believes his family is. This is where they encounter the Death Claws. They need to get past the Death Claws in order to get to his family. But Hank finds them first and forces him into an ultimatum. Take Lucy back to his vault and his family will be safe, or continue on their journey and his family could be killed. Having no other choice, he agrees, but not before getting punched by Lucy and flying out the window and being impaled. The shock when he got impaled, I honestly believed that he was going to die and almost gave up on the show.
I mean, I would have given up on the show if the Ghoul had died. I would have just dropped out. Even though I'm a fan of the games and the story and everything, I just would have...
Yeah, he's kind of the only thing that keeps you hanging on really in the bulk of it. And when he was pushed out that window, I was just like, no, he can't die. It's all over.
I didn't think he was going to die though. Like, I had a feeling he was going to get off that pole.
Well, yeah, the story's not complete. It's like, how can you... It didn't make sense to kill him off.
Yeah,
but still, it was just...
It was still...
It was a scare.
It was a little scare.
Luckily, that didn't happen. Instead, he is found and nursed back to health by other mutants. He is then found by Max and Thaddeus, where they make their way to New Vegas, but not before stocking up and giving Max the NCR suit in exchange for the cold fusion. They make it to Vegas, and as Max fights the Death Claws, the Ghoul gets inside where he activates the fusion and is reunited with Robert House, who then leads him to the management vault to find his family. When there, he helps out Lucy with Hank, then proceeds to find his family. Finally making it to the cryopods, he opens them to reveal that his family is not there. Just when all hope is lost, he finds a postcard left by his wife with a clue to where they may be. So he sets off again to find them, but this time with the confirmed knowledge they are alive. He just needs to get to them.
That scene was huge when we watched it. I remember tripping because I actually thought they might have been in those cryopods. It was like a 90% yes, but there was still that 10% they weren't there.
I even had the theory that even though it was showing Bob's and Jenny's pods, I thought that they were perhaps lying to him about being in that specific vault and that he was going to get down there, find the cryopods, but then realize that the images we saw of those pods were actually in a completely different area. Now we're going to be talking about Cooper Howard. After overhearing the Vault Tech meeting, he is left extremely unsettled. He is approached by Moldaver to take out Robert House, as he owns a management tech company and half of Vegas, and wants to use the cold fusion for himself. Bob is going to Vegas to sell the fusion. Howard tags along so that he can stop the sale. When there, he is introduced to Robert House, who he had met once before. During this encounter, Robert tells him that he wants the cold fusion to survive the bombs, not drop them, as there is someone else, a bigger player, that will be dropping the bombs, the people who own and control Vault-Tec.
Yeah, because she was prompted by a mysterious figure in the meeting room when they were talking to all the head executives. And as far as I know, that dude that's at the head of Vault-Tec is actually a member of the Enclave and the one behind dropping the bombs.
Howard then confronts his wife about the meeting that took place at Vault-Tec. She reveals that she was blackmailed by the mysterious owners of Vault-Tec to say those things, and continues to roll out the plan.
Interesting fact about that scene, that guy that threatens her is actually the same guy that steals the cold fusion from the Enclave in the start of the second episode of season 1. So somehow he, including Moldaver, are still alive 200 years after the bombs dropped.
Bob agrees to play along so that her family still has a chance of survival. Cooper doesn't accept this and carries through with his own plan to get the cold fusion and give it to the government in hopes that they will give it to the people and use it for good, then for bad like the corporations. Bob agrees to help and they get the cold fusion to the president with the help of a congresswoman.
Little do they realize that the president and the congresswoman are actually a part of the Enclave.
The last we see of Howard is in the flashbacks. He is getting arrested by the police, and we are left to believe it is because of what he did with the cold fusion.
Honestly, I love his backstory. It is one of the key points of story in the entire show. Like, everything to do with Cooper Howard, him being before the war and like a Ghoul after the war, is just the only thing I fucking care about. And whether he did the right thing or not. From his perspective, not knowing that the president was actually a part of the Enclave and thinking that Robco was going to be the ones that dropped the bomb and Vault-Tec was obviously evil. Yes, he was definitely doing the right thing in that situation. And now that he's gotten arrested, like, it could go so many different ways. We already know it has to end with some kind of plea deal to, like, keep his family safe, because at the very start of the show in season 1, we see him working as a cowboy doing shows at a birthday party. So he's obviously going to get out of the predicament that he's in, but it's definitely going to cost him his reputation.
Overall this season, the Wasteland is more dangerous with more factions, policies, and mutants. We are introduced to the city of New Vegas that then gives us more of an insight and deep dive into the gaming universe. It expands the world for the audience and characters literally and emotionally.
My favorite had to be the reference they made to the start of Fallout New Vegas with the 50 cal sniper rifle shooting, when they shot the Deathclaw in the eye. That scene is just fucking amazing when you open up the New Vegas game, and it's just as amazing in the TV show. My least favorite part is at the start of season 2 when the Ghoul puts himself in a compromising position to rely on Lucy, and I didn't think that he would be so stupid to actually think that she would be someone to fucking rely on. For where I want the characters to end up, I mean, I have a different opinion for everyone. Lucy, I just hope that she does the right thing by Max, and as far as Max goes, like, he's in the shit. Like, he started a civil war between the Brotherhood of Steel, which is fucking insane, but they will obviously sort themselves out. And oh my god, they referenced Liberty Prime. Liberty Prime is a huge part of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 when it comes to the Brotherhood. Matter of fact, in Fallout 3, they use it to attack an Enclave base, and in Fallout 4, they use it to attack the Institute. And going back to Max, I get the feeling that he's going to join the NCR now that they're kind of marching back into town. I'm also interested to see what happens to Chet and the rest of the Vault Dwellers in Vault 32 and 33, now that Steph has activated Phase 2, which is supposed to be the forced evolutionary virus. And last but not least, the Ghoul. I have no idea where his story is going to end up, but we do definitely know that his family is alive and he's going to go look for them in California. So far, the biggest thing for me when it comes to the Ghoul is just essentially how his family survived the bomb, because we know he was with his daughter at the birthday party when the bombs dropped, but then now that it's 200 years later, we also know that his daughter somehow got into a vault system with his wife. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in the next season.
That's all for our thoughts and opinions on season 2. What did you think? Was there anything that we missed out? And let us know your thoughts and opinions of season 2.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.